Have you ever wondered if we truly know the whole story of creation? The Bible tells us how the world was made and how man came to be, yet there are hints that the narrative might be far more complex than it first appears. Long before Adam was formed from the dust of the earth, Genesis 2 verse 7, the Bible speaks of mysterious beings called the sons of God. These beings seem to have been present at the very dawn of creation, a time so ancient that it makes us question what we have always assumed about our beginnings. In the book of Job, God poses a series of questions to Job about the creation of the earth. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? Job 38 verses 4 to 7. This passage is not just about the technical details of building a house. It is a reminder of how grand and mysterious creation really is. It tells us that even before the world as we know it was formed, there were already beings rejoicing over its creation. Imagine being there at that ancient moment, the universe coming into being, light separating from darkness, and the cosmos filled with a kind of divine celebration. The Bible tells us that the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy, Job 38 verse 7. This paints a picture of a vibrant, celestial gathering where these beings witnessed the birth of everything. But if Adam was the first human, how could there be others already present? For many readers of the Bible, this raises a puzzling question. Who are these sons of God? Traditional interpretations suggest they were angels, spiritual beings who dwell in God's presence, Psalm 103 verse 20. Angels are messengers and servants of God, and they appear throughout Scripture to carry out His will. Yet the Bible chooses a special phrase, sons of God, which makes us wonder if there is something even more mysterious about their identity. Some ancient texts outside the standard Bible, like the Book of Enoch, offer extra details. They talk about a group of angels known as the Watchers who came to earth and even mixed with human beings, Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4. Whether one accepts these extra-biblical texts or not, the very mention of the sons of God hints at a layered and secret history, one that might challenge the traditional view that creation began only with Adam and Eve. This mystery is not only intriguing, it also invites us to think deeply about our place in the universe. If beings much older than humans were already present when the world was made, does that mean there was something even before Adam? Could there have been a time or even a creation that was later forgotten or hidden from the common narrative? For centuries, scholars, theologians, and curious readers alike have pondered these questions. They ask, why is this topic rarely discussed in modern interpretations of the Bible? One reason might be that the subject challenges the central idea that humankind is the sole focus of God's creative work. Instead, the presence of these mysterious beings suggests a more complex cosmic drama in which humanity is only one part of a larger, divine plan. In this first chapter, we have set the stage by exploring the early hints the Bible gives us. We see that long before Adam's creation, Genesis 2 verse 7, or even the establishment of Eden, Genesis 2 verses 8 to 10, there was a heavenly assembly, a moment. When the morning stars sang together, Job 38 verse 7. This ancient celebration invites us to question and wonder, what was the full scope of creation? And if these beings existed from the very beginning, what role did they play in shaping the world? The idea of the sons of God challenges us to look at the Bible not as a single, straightforward story but as a tapestry of events and beings, each with its own mystery and significance. It is a story that stretches back to the very dawn of time, filled with wonder, questions, and the promise of more revelations to come. But who were the sons of God? As we continue our journey into the mysteries of creation, the identity of the sons of God remains one of the most debated topics. There are several theories about who these beings might have been, and each offers a fascinating perspective on the Bible's hidden messages. The angelic interpretation. The most popular view is that the sons of God were angels. Angels are known throughout Scripture as messengers and servants of God. They carry out divine commands and appear in many biblical stories, from the announcements to Mary, Luke 1 verses 26 to 38, to the protection of Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel 6. This interpretation fits well with the passage in Job 38 verse 7, where the sons of God are described as singing for joy at the foundation of the earth. Their participation in the creation scene suggests that they were close to God, witnessing and celebrating His work. Supporters of this view also reference Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4. Here, the Bible tells us that when human beings began to multiply, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they took them as wives. This union, however, led to a controversial and mysterious development, a race of giants or mighty men, sometimes called the Nephilim. This story has long puzzled readers. If these beings were mere angels, why would they interact with humans in such a direct way? Some argue that this act was a deviation from their heavenly role, leading to a fall from grace for those who rebelled against the divine order. The pre-existent souls theory. Another intriguing idea suggests that the sons of God were not angels in the traditional sense but pre-existent souls, spiritual beings that existed before the physical world was made. This theory draws support from passages like Jeremiah 1 verse 5, where God tells the prophet, "Before I formed you in the womb I knew you, and before you were born I consecrated you." In this view, God's knowledge of Jeremiah before his birth hints at a realm of existence that is independent of physical form. According to this perspective, the souls of these beings existed in a purely spiritual state before being given physical bodies. Adam, then, was the first human to receive a physical form, but he was not the first being that God created. This challenges the conventional belief that the creation story begins with Adam and Eve. Instead, it opens up the possibility of a much broader spectrum of creation, one that includes beings whose origins lie in a spiritual realm that predates our physical world. The gap theory, a previous creation. Perhaps the most surprising theory is known as the gap theory. This idea posits that there was an earlier creation, a world that existed before the one described in Genesis. According to some scholars, the Hebrew word often translated as was in Genesis 1 verse 2 could also mean became. This subtle difference in translation suggests that the earth may have once been a different kind of world, one that was later destroyed or radically transformed before the arrival of Adam. Under the gap theory, the sons of God might have been part of this earlier creation. They could have been the witnesses to a previous cosmic order, one that was erased or hidden from the usual biblical narrative. Their existence before Adam would then not be a mere footnote but a key piece in understanding a grander divine plan. This theory implies that the familiar story of creation is only part of a much larger, more complex history, a history that includes a lost world and beings whose purpose was intertwined with that ancient order. The ongoing debate. Each of these theories, the angelic view, the pre-existent souls, and the gap theory, offers a different perspective on who the sons of God were. They invite us to look deeper into the Bible and to question whether the familiar story of creation might hide additional layers of meaning. It is no wonder that modern interpretations often sideline this topic. Discussing these ideas can lead to challenging questions about the nature of creation and humanity's role within it. Why, for instance, do many modern interpretations ignore these mysterious beings? One reason might be that they complicate the clear-cut narrative of human primacy in the divine plan. A story that includes beings from a previous creation or pre-existent souls suggests that humanity is not the sole focus of God's work, but rather one chapter in an ongoing cosmic saga. For some readers, this broader perspective can feel both exciting and unsettling. In this chapter, we have explored three main theories about the sons of God. Each theory provides clues that could forever change the way we see the beginning of all things. Whether you lean toward the view of them being angels rejoicing in the glory of creation, pre-existent souls that set the stage for human life, or witnesses from a previous world entirely, one thing is clear. The mystery of the sons of God challenges us to think beyond the obvious and embrace a deeper, more complex story of creation. The Bible, through its vivid imagery and thought-provoking questions, encourages us to seek understanding. And while not every answer is neatly wrapped up in a single interpretation, the quest to understand these ancient mysteries is an invitation to explore, reflect, and imagine a universe that is far richer than we might have ever suspected. Chapter 3. The Unfolding of the Divine Plan. Now that we have examined who the mysterious sons of God might have been, the question naturally follows: what happened after the creation of Adam? How did these ancient beings fit into the unfolding plan of creation? And what role did they play in the events that led to our present world? According to the biblical narrative, after Adam was formed from the dust, Genesis 2 verse 7, and placed in the Garden of Eden, Genesis 2 verses 8 to 10, the world continued to develop according to God's design. Yet the presence of the sons of God hints that the divine plan was more intricate than simply the formation of man and the garden. These beings, who were present even at the foundation of the earth, Job 38 verses 4 to 7, raise questions about the nature of rebellion, obedience, and the scope of God's creation. One important aspect of this story is the possibility of rebellion among these heavenly beings. In the traditional angelic interpretation, some of the sons of God, those who took human wives as mentioned in Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4, might have deviated from their original purpose. Their actions are sometimes linked to the narrative of fallen angels, a story further explored in extra-biblical writings like the Book of Enoch. The idea is that while many of these angels remained faithful to God, a few chose to stray, causing chaos and blurring the boundaries between the divine and the human. This act of disobedience might have sown the seeds of corruption that would eventually lead to the flood in Noah's time, Genesis 6 verses 5 to 7. Alternatively, if we consider the theory that the sons of God were pre-existent souls or part of an earlier creation, their fate after Adam's arrival becomes even more mysterious. Were they set aside, or did they integrate into God's plan in some other way? Some believe that these beings continue to exist in a different realm, observing, influencing, or even protecting the unfolding of events on earth. Their silent presence throughout biblical history might suggest that they had a role not just in creation but also in guiding the destiny of humankind. This interpretation invites us to see the Bible as a multi-layered story where every character, seen or unseen, plays a part in a cosmic drama that spans both time and space. Moreover, the narrative of Adam and Eve's fall in the Garden of Eden, Genesis 3, introduces the idea of free will and the consequences of disobedience. If these celestial beings were present at the beginning, they might have been witnesses to the first act of rebellion against God's perfect order. Their knowledge of the original creation, coupled with their possible involvement in events like the union with human women, Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4, sets up a dramatic tension, the contrast between divine order and human, or angelic, rebellion. It is also worth considering that the mystery of the sons of God extends into the question of why modern interpretations often sideline them. Perhaps the focus on a simple narrative, Adam, Eve, the garden, and the fall, serves to emphasize the unique role of humans in the divine plan. Yet by doing so, we may be missing a broader picture, one that includes celestial beings who have witnessed the universe's birth and might still be influencing its destiny. In this final chapter, we are left with more questions than answers. The Bible, with its poetic language and symbolic imagery, does not always offer clear-cut explanations. Instead, it invites us to explore the depths of creation and consider that the story of the universe might be far richer than the simple account we often hear. The sons of God, whether seen as angels, pre-existent souls, or remnants of a previous creation, challenge us to look beyond the surface. They remind us that from the very first moments of existence, there has been a vast, unfolding plan in which every being, every act of joy or rebellion, plays a part. As we reflect on these mysteries, we are encouraged to keep our minds open and our hearts curious. The ancient texts beckon us to re-examine what we think we know about our beginnings and to acknowledge that some parts of the divine plan may remain hidden, inviting us to continue the search for understanding. In doing so, we not only gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity of creation, but also for the mystery and wonder that continue to inspire faith, inquiry, and the quest for truth. The story of creation, with its layers of meaning and hidden chapters, is a reminder that sometimes the most profound truths are found not in the answers we receive, but in the questions we dare to ask. We have come to the end of the teaching. Hope we open your eyes to some mystery and truth about God's creation. So make sure to subscribe for more teaching and eye-opening stories like this. Thank you.